that I signed last week proclaiming this as Fire Prevention Week in the city of Louisa. It was already sent to the papers, and I just want to highlight a couple of things in it, and then we'll move right on into the rest. But says, whereas the city of Louisa is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living and visiting our city, and fire is a serious public safety concern both locally and nationally, homes and the locations where people are at greatest risk from fire. And this was triggering to me. Home fires killed more than 2,800 people in the United States. That was the 2021 numbers. 22 not there yet, according to National Fire Protection Association. And fire departments responded to 338,000 home fires across the United States, with most of those coming from the kitchen. And so this year they're focusing on fires in the kitchen, smoke detectors in our homes, kitchen safety, and that sort of thing. This week, therefore, I proclaim October 8th through 14th is Fire Prevention Week throughout the city, and urge all people in Louisa to check your kitchens, check your smoke detectors for fire hazards, use time to teach your kids good safety cooking hazards, and just a week for us to focus on fire prevention this week. And that was signed and put out to the media. And with that being said, we also had, Eddie and I have been saving this for a few weeks. We had some special things besides the fire department this week, and giving them fire prevention materials. Sparky the dog will be there, and they spend all week going all out for this, and I appreciate that. They give kids tours of the fire stations, rides on the fire trucks, and time for them to look at the fire trucks. It's always enjoyable for our kids in the community to do that. But tonight I wanted to remember a time back last year. I'll try to get my glasses on and read it. The Louisa Fire Department responded to a structure fire at 7:58 a.m. Initial fire units arrived at 8:07 a.m., which is remarkable in itself, and found heavy smoke conditions with fire in the rear of a mobile home. First engine company made entry and found a female lying on the floor just a few feet away from the door. Under heavy smoke and heat conditions, with fire entering the room over their heads, Captain Anthony Caudle, along with firefighter Luke Wellman, removed the female victim to the outside, where additional firefighters began resuscitative efforts. The female was removed from the structure at 8:12 p.m. Captain Caudle, along with firefighters Luke Wellman and Noah Burchett, re-entered the structure and began searching for a second victim said to be in the home. The victim was found in the living room. The male subject was removed and firefighters began resuscitative efforts. Both victims were transported from the scene, one having a pulse and breathing, CPR in progress, while the other one continued all the way to hospital. So therefore tonight, in honor of that, in our small community, I want to recognize Chief Preston, all the officers and all the firefighters of the Louisa Fire Department for all your efforts all year long that you provide our city. And to go a step farther, I wanted to recognize and award Anthony Caudle, Noah Burchett, and Luke Wellman for entering into a burning home, leaving your family to go and try to save somebody else's. And the Medal of Valor, which we'll be awarding them, is given to a firefighter for the performance above and beyond the call of duty at extreme personal risk and having been instrumental in rescuing and saving another person. So tonight, Anthony, Luke, and Noah, if you'll step out here. Eddie and I have 3 awards for you. Thank you, Roger. Listen for prayer.
Yeah, I wonder why. So, last year we got a grant for new turnout gear, but it's only for like $15,000, which is only 4 cents a gear. That's how expensive this is. So, with theirs being more than unreplaceable, they got new gear.
Good job.
While they're packing up, I'll tell you a little bit about it. Five code through CDBG and was awarded the grant. We need now to move into a contract with the architect. That's really the last step was running in the paper, which we just done. I just gave Kelly the documentation of that. And we need to move into a contract with the architect. The reason we had already voted previously on the architect because we advertised in the paper an RFQ, did request for qualifications, and went through the different, actually, he may have been the only one that applied, but anyway, this guy was the one chosen. It's Craig A18 from, I think it's Cincinnati, Cody, you know this guy? Yeah. Cincinnati area.
What was the name? I'm sorry.
It's not A18, it's.
Respected Studio.
Yeah, Perspective Studio. So, we needed to enter into a contract with this guy. The city council had voted for me to enter into that contract. However, since then, and there'd been some delays, some things have changed and transpired. And once he sent me the contract again, I sent it to the city attorney. Once he sent me the breakdown of pricing, if you notice, and Bud, you want me to go ahead and talk about this?
Yeah, go
Sorry,
ahead.
my glasses hung in my head. I think he had actually done that before Cody became a city council member, but since Cody became a city council member and I had to sign the contract, I had Bud to look at the ethics policy, because I wanted to go by the book and do it exactly like we're supposed to. Bud reviewed the ethics policy and
I think it's fine.
he said that we needed to come back before council, since we now know this, disclose that Cody, being a council member, is an employee of West Tech, who is a subcontractor of Perspective Studio, and that on this vote, Cody should abstain and not vote. And it would be up to the rest of you all to vote. And that's what our ethics policy says, that's the way it should be done. And like I said, when we started all this, Cody really wasn't here, so this all transpired since then. So, Bud has reviewed the contract. He recommends one change in the contract, which I've spoke to Craig about. He's okay to change that, the arbitration clause. So with your all's approval tonight, I can sign this contract with Craig once he removes the part Bud wants removed. That we disclosed ethically that Cody works for West Tech and West Tech, a subcontractor. Any more questions?
Then we can get started on the.
Yes, he'll be starting on the plan.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's got some of it done, but he's got some finishing to do.
I'll make a motion to accept it.
Okay, motion by Mr. Lester and second by
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chafin. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Ah.
Started on the $12 million needed for the new sewage treatment plant. As it turned out, because our treatment plant, after the new flood plants came out, Kelly, we're located in the floodplain. So the good thing about that is it qualified us for some mitigation funding that we wasn't aware of. But we wouldn't have been available to us before the new maps came out. So anyway, Mr. Eric at Fiveco was the one that put me onto this, helped me do the application, and we were gonna be awarded the total amount. They called me and explained this to me. We got to award you phase one, which was for some design work and initial stuff, and then you'll be awarded phase two nearby. The contract, I believe, if I record it, is already for the total amount, but anyway, this amount on this award is $604,000 of the 6 million. And then the next one will be 5-point-something million, okay? So anytime you're awarded FEMA, then you have to sign a contract with the state of Kentucky, Kentucky Emergency Management, because they're the ones that administers the FEMA money back down to the local level. So you all voted back sometime for me to apply for this. It does have a 5% match. So if you'll see that a non-federal share of $61,000 that we would have to pay. And I'm working with some officials now on the newly released House Bill 9 that's hopefully gonna be in place specifically for helping local communities apply for the 20% match so they can get federal. So I feel like there's a good chance this qualifies for that. And so I feel like the 5% match of the $6.5 million will be able to get through the new House Bill 9 grant program. I feel like I'll know more.
We'll find out Tuesday.
We'll find out Tuesday, we'll know more. But basically, before I sign the contract, I need you all to agree that we want to accept phase 1 and anxiously await accepting phase 2 and anxiously get started on a sewer plant someday.
What's the backup plan if we don't get it?
How you want a sewer plant?
Okay, which,
And it will be located where, Harold? The new.
Where it is now.
Okay, so you're gonna demo the old one?
Yes, now the plans, and, anytime you all want to come to one of the, utility board meetings, or the second Tuesday, and I'm being serious, anytime you wanna come to one of those, or if we wanted to have one specifically talk about the sewer plant, we could. But, we discuss all those plans at those meetings, and the plan is to, if we had moved it somewhere else, you're talking $21 million instead of $12. So using some of what we have, like the building, instead of just demolishing a brick building and have to build a new one, you basically just gut it and reuse that building, saves a lot of money. So it would require purchasing some additional property around that location. And then once the new plant is put in place, Keith, to answer your question, yes, this will include demoing and taking out all the others. Because I don't like, if you go to a water plant or sewer plant, either one, you see 2 or 3 plants. Every time we build a new one, we just leave the old one sit there. And it's getting to the point now, there's no more room because you got more old sitting around than you do new. And that was something important to me, that we get rid of this old plant.
Okay, sounds good.
And so, our goal at this point is to take out of 12 million, this would be 6.5. They have not made an award, but Mr. Rogers did do a press release saying that we were included in earmarks for the federal budget for 2.75 million. I'm assuming a lot of that depends on what ends up in Washington, but if the budget's approved with the way he wants it, we're in it for 2.75, so that makes us about $9 million of the 12. And, you know, you may come down to borrow 1 or 2 or 3. If you borrow 2, you get about 700,000 forgiven, so you take back 1. It's been a long, hard road.
It seems like everything is.
It is. It is.
So you need us to make a motion that we accept phase 1?
Yes, and authorize me to sign the contract with Kentucky Emergency Management for this thing.
I make that motion.
Motion made by Keith Chafin. Second by Cody Rowe. Any more questions? You all actually voted on these, or I remember.
yeah,
Yeah.
I remember voting
I
on
think both of you all were here. Keith, Cody, all in favor?
While we were in executive session, we discussed acquisition of real estate on 2 different projects. And no final decision was made.